Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I've got a state of the game update video for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, getting you guys up to speed on what's going on in the PUBG world. 7 million copies of this game have sold since March, and it's not even out of early access yet. It's got to be breaking all kinds of records right now, becoming basically a AAA title from what should have been an indie shooter game. The high level of skill and strategy combined with an RNG factor makes it a really compelling game for most shooter fans out there, and it really shows. I can only imagine what this game's going to be like in a year. Will it have outsold Call of Duty or Battlefield titles? My guess is probably. The 7 million copies sold have only been on PC so far, and once they start coming out with the console versions, we can only imagine what the sales figures are going to look like. The game is already dethroning Counter-Strike for most concurrent players online, making it one of the most popular shooters being played right now. And it's also getting more views on Twitch than League of Legends, making it one of the most popular Twitch games out there right now. One of the top PUBG streamers and also well-known competitive esports player who's pretty well known in the Counter-Strike world, Shroud, has recently stepped down from Cloud9 so that he can stream full-time. And that's got to tell you something. The money must be pretty darn good on Twitch and just streaming PUBG if a competitive player is willing to step down and just stream the game all day. As far as I know, this seems to be the first time that a top tier competitive player has declined the competitive life for the streaming life, and it's kind of exciting and crazy at the same time. I wonder if it's going to mix up the esports gaming world a bit. And speaking of which, the Gamescom PUBG Invitational is going to start on August 23rd and it goes through till the 26th. The competitive matches should be streamed from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and that's CEST. So look up that time zone and figure out when it's on in your part of the world. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining to watch. Each night has a huge prize pool. The first night of 46,000 and the second and third night of 62,000, and the final night will have a prize pool of $180,000. It's going to range from solo events to duo events to duo first person to full-on squad events. So it's a pretty darn exciting tournament. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be on kind of early, but still exciting nonetheless. There's going to be a bunch of YouTubers and Twitch streamers in the tournament, but they're also inviting professional competitive teams like Luminosity, Team Liquid, Cloud9, TSM, Mythic, and Noble. So it'll be exciting to see how the games turn out. PUBG has got a huge amount of chaos and an RNG factor. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTubers or community members ended up winning some of the tournaments just because there is such a crazy chaos factor to the game. Even if admitting that the competitive teams are significantly better players, it doesn't always matter in PUBG. So it'll be an entertaining watch. Now, in terms of what's going on with PUBG and the updates, the developers did make a recent announcement that they're going to start slowing down the monthly patches. They found that restricting themselves to the monthly patch release timeline ended up giving a lot of people very buggy monthly patches and creating bigger issues for the dev team down the road. So ultimately, they want to speed up the progress of the team by not having to do monthly patches. Ultimately, this should actually speed up the development process, give us cleaner patches, and they're going to take more advantage of the test server. Rather than just spending one day testing a patch on the test server, it could be significantly longer to make sure they iron out all the bugs before they release it to the standard client. Personally, I'm happy with this decision. When developers try and force themselves to meet timelines, it can often result in buggy or less than perfect products at the end of the day. PUBG is making good and fast progress, so if the patches don't come out every single month or at the same time on every month, that's fine with me. I'd rather have good solid patches rather than buggy patches as we have been getting. Some exciting stuff though is we got this new video of the upcoming vaulting mechanics, which look really good. We're seeing them from the third person perspective, so it's hard to say what they're going to look like from first person, but third person they look solid. The cool feature here is that you can go to vault over a wall, maybe look over it, and then vault back down, or rather just cancel the vault halfway through, which is really cool. That's a very useful system in case you see somebody on the other side, and it does reflect reality quite nicely. Again, I'm very curious to see what this system looks like and performs like in the first person perspective and how it works when you're running with a weapon weapon equipped? Do you have to put the weapon away first before you vault up? Will you hold it in one hand? Is it going to be different with pistols versus assault rifles? It's pretty exciting looking, though. It's certainly going to change up the meta of PUBG quite a bit, allowing the average player to get into many different locations relatively quickly and not have to rely so much on flanking routes by going left to right, but maybe even over obstacles instead. I think it would be really cool too if they also worked on a combined effort vaulting system similar to what Warface had, where one player could sit on a wall and boost another player up to a very high ledge, and then that player could turn around once they got up there and hoist the other player up onto the high ledge. This was a really cool element that allowed teams of players to get up onto really high locations. If they started to incorporate this mechanic to PUBG, that would be even cooler and add another element of teamwork. Either way, it's really exciting to see the new vaulting system. I hope there's no hitbox issues with it, as I just have come to experience with other games that have complex vaulting systems. Sometimes the hitboxes can get a little bit out of whack, but it is exciting to see the new systems being implemented into PUBG. Again, this is an early access game, which means it isn't even feature complete yet, so when new features get implemented, it means the dynamics of the game itself are going to change significantly, so it's kind of exciting. A recent feature that I've been able to take advantage of is when the game crashes or you disconnect somehow, you can now reconnect to the game. This is a very nice feature. It hasn't necessarily worked out too favorably for me, as I ended up just dying right after I reconnected, but it is nice that it's in the game and functioning now. They also did release a patch recently that was supposed to fix a bunch of crashing bugs also, so hopefully that makes the game a little bit more stable. This was just a very small patch without any additional features though. Now when it comes to the player-driven economy for the crate system and cosmetic items, it still seems to be going quite strong. The Gamescom crates are only going to be available to August 27th, which adds a huge amount of value behind any of the super rare items you get from them, because there's going to be a limited number of those items in circulation after August 27th, and so the prices on the Steam marketplace are absolutely insane. Many items over $100 from these crates, some of them over $300 or $400. It's kind of crazy, out of hand you might even say, but it's certainly good for the developers of this game. On one hand, it does make items really rare or cool to see, kind of like in Counter-Strike when you would see certain knife skins or something in game and you're like, oh wow, that's a $300 knife skin. That's kind of crazy that that guy has that. Adding that type of digital value to an in-game skin or item of clothing is kind of cool. Unfortunately, PUBG, especially in first-person mode, you don't notice it as much, and a lot of your armor kind of covers it up as well. For example, I unlocked a hat that's worth like $15 or $20 in PUBG, which was kind of exciting to get, yet I usually replace it with a helmet within the first like 60 seconds of playing any PUBG game. So the amount of value you actually get out of it in-game seems to be a little bit off. I think they could definitely do a little bit more work on the cosmetic side of things in PUBG to make it more valuable or inviting, especially with the hat system, considering that you just replace them with helmets. And then of course there is sort of the elitist side of it, where the average player is only going to get basic cosmetic items, and any of the cooler looking stuff or more rare stuff is going to be more or less unattainable to them. It could also be more exciting if the average player who doesn't spend any money on the game ends up getting one of these super rare items. Then they can always sell it on the Steam marketplace for a lot of money. It is kind of crazy to follow the market of this game that is just exploding. Everybody's trying to anticipate the value of items, how much they're going to be worth. Should you buy them now? Should you hold on to your Gamescom crates now and sell them later? I have a feeling they are going to go up significantly in value. So if you're playing a lot of PUBG and you're buying a bunch of Gamescom crates, you might want to hang on to them. Now, sadly, we haven't heard about any new weapons coming to PUBG in the near future. I'm hoping for a lot of new weapons. I mean, I would love to see more 5.56, more 7.62. An AK-12 would be an awesome weapon to bring into the game. An MP7, stuff like that could just be really exciting. Even a P90 or something too would be pretty cool. I could make a list of 30 or 40 guns that I would like to see in PUBG, just to add a bit more weapon variety to the game and have players learn a little bit more about different weapons and which ones they like. That would just be exciting to me. Hopefully we'll get some news about that in the near future. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up for this PUBG State of the Game video. I hope you guys are enjoying PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds if you're able to play. For those of you on console, hopefully it won't be too long until the Xbox version is available. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.